Hello guys, welcome back to Field Skills. My name is David Fields, and today we're out at the camp and wanted to shoot a little video, and we're going to shoot a shelter video today using an 8-foot by 8-foot canvas tarp, and show some various configurations and way to use how I like to use a square tarp today. So stay with us. We're going to set the camera a little different angle and start on our tarp shelter video today. Be right back. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got my canvas tarp laid out. This is 8-foot by 8-foot, a square tarp. The color brown is probably blending into the ground a little bit, but that's okay. We'll have it up in just a minute. You'll see. Now I got this tarp off of I just googled canvas tarps and bought it for about 50 bucks on the internet. You can order tarps if you want to go with a canvas tarp. You can get them on the internet for 40 to 60 bucks or even more depending on the size and the weight of the cloth. A canvas tarp I like. It's very durable, hardy material, but the negative is if you're backpacking it in, it's heavy. A lot heavier than a nylon or a vinyl type tarp material. But if you've got a conveyance like a four-wheeler or side-by-side, it's easy to get that back in the woods. So you may want to go with a little more durable tarp material like canvas, waterproof canvas. Now what we're going to do, we're going to create a diamond pattern shelter. Some people call it a plow point shelter. And what we're going to use is just a single tree you can find in the woods. If there are no trees, you could use a hiking stick or just a pole that you find in there to create your ridge point and stake it out. Or you could use a tripod. And when you get it up, you can see how a tripod, a pole, or just a simple tree you can tie off to will make this very simply and very easily. So what we're going to do is first tie this off to this tree to create our opening, our front of the shelter. Then we're going to show you how to stake it down. Okay, I want to talk to you first about how we're going to connect this point of our canvas tarp to this tree, and I like to use a Canadian jam knot. Now the simple way to do that is I leave me a little bit of tag here and I tie a knot in it. As you can see right here, I've got the knot in it. Then I take that in and do just an overhand loop. Just like that. Simple overhand loop. Then I'm going to take this end and come back through the loop to make a self-tightening knot. So we would go around the tree right here. Come up, as you can see, get that. Come up through that loop and tighten it up right here. Pull that around. And when you pull it tight, that has jammed upon itself, so we've got it connected. It's not going to come loose. Then what we do is I run this through that grommet at the point, that diagonal point, pull it up against the tree. And I can just make a couple loops around here. Hold that over, another loop. Then I'm going to come right through those two right there. And just half hitch it off. And now that is good and tight. You don't need that much cordage, and I'm using this wild green, so it's maybe a little easier to see, but just any way, I use the Canadian jam. You can use a lot of different ways. You just want to get that point of this square tarp tied off to your tree, about a little above waist height. You can move it up or down depending on your height, so you can sit in there and have headroom. Okay, as you can see, we've got the point of this square tarp tied off. I'm going to use just aluminum metal stakes here and take this and pull it back good and tight and make your ridge line and stake that down into the ground very well. Then we'll come around here, take this corner, diagonal corner, stake it in, go around, do the other side, and take all 4 points or corners of this tarp and just simply stake them down. Okay, as you can see in there, we've got the plow point, the diamond formation shelter set up. And let's give you just a quick look around. And you can see the diamond formation that it's set up in. But as you can see right in here, we've got some sag in that ridge line this way. Now there's several ways we can remedy that and get that headroom up better. Alright, a simple way to do that is to take just a hiking stick or a stick you find in the woods. Make sure we cut those flush and round them off a little bit so that they don't stick through. And come right here in the middle and raise that up. As you can see there, now we've got some headroom in there. Still got plenty of room to get in, but we can sit up in the front. Let me show you that. Now, during the day when you want to work, get you a couple more just simple sticks. Put them right in here. And you've really opened up this area to work from. To sleep, lay down. 2 people could sleep under here comfortably. At night, you want to lower that down. Okay, remember here, we can use a simple tree to create the opening to our shelter, staking it out, using it this way. Very quick and simple when you find the right open area with a good tree in there. If you don't have a tree, take a walking stick or something and you could tie up to this, use a guy line or 2 of them even off of it to pull this tarp up, give you the height, the opening area here, stake it down the same way. To eliminate this pole in the middle, you could find a long deadfall in the woods, long enough to stretch from that corner to here, brace it, tie it off to a tree here, or create you a tripod configuration if you didn't have that, with a long back leg that runs under here and gives you that rigid ridge line here, and build this tarp shelter with a tripod out the front, and you would have a clear opening at the front that way because you would have your 2 legs coming off the side. So a lot of options you would have to put up a tarp shelter like this using a square tarp in this diamond configuration, and the various adjustments you can make to that. But there's also one other way I want to show you real quick, is to make it in this diamond configuration, but setting it up with a ridge line that is similar to an A-frame or a pup tent. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is our ridge line. One end of this we need to tie a bowline knot, a rigid, stiff loop to use as a tensioning device. There are a lot of videos out, I've shown this before, but tie some type of loop, or to tie your one end of your ridge line off to a tree. And I take that loop, run my ridge line through it, and it'll tighten up against that tree right there. Then we'll go over here to our other tree. Okay, on the other end, as you can see, we pulled our ridge line across, coming this way. We're going to wrap it around the second tree here to pull it. I want to come out here about this far, so far, and loosen it up. And we're going to tie just an inline loop there. Just get a bight of rope, come over, half hitch it through, and it makes a tensioning loop right there. Very simple. Just put some type of inline loop, bring your ridge line around that tree, come run it through that loop you've just created, and then you can pull. You've got tension to get that ridge line very tight. Once you get it where you want, just pinch all three of those together right there. Take another bite, come over the top of all three, grab that loose end hanging and pull it through and back. And that's called a trucker's hitch. That's not going to go anywhere. Plus, with this loop you've got, we're going to have tensioning of our tarp, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But you've got a good, tight ridge line right there, and you can crank down on it as hard as you want. Okay, let's lay our tarp out on the diagonal again and throw it over our ridge line. Oh, we've got a stump hole there. Throw it over our ridge line. Here and get it smoothed out and stretched out between there and there. Okay, let's talk about a prussic knot. What we do with the prussic is just tie up a simple loop. I've just taken a piece of bank line here, tied it off, and took both ends of that and just tied them into a knot to make a loop. To make a prussic, we just want to lay that over the top of our line and take that knot of the two ends and wrap them around once, twice, and pull it through, and that will create a jamming, locking type knot. When you put tension on it, it won't pull, but you can loosen it up and slide it anywhere you want. What we'll do is take just a simple toggle, simple stick we find off the ground, run that loop through there, as you can see, and just put our toggle or stick in it and pull that tight. And that's going to hold that end of our tarp with a prussic knot. A lot of videos out there on the prussic knot. Very simple to make, very useful, adjustable type knot system on a ridge line. So, okay, now we've got our tarp spread out here. What we do with this loop on this other end where we tied our trucker's hitch is just feed that loop through our grommet on the point of that canvas tarp, put our toggle in, and then just pull, tighten that knot down, and it's going to pull that tarp out tight. Right off, but let's take this, stake it down. Now we've got a back to the tarp, and let's go around to the front. Okay, we've got our tail ridge line here. We've got the back end staked to the ground. So now we're going to take this, and we've got this tree right here that we're going to be able to open this up. So we'll just take a piece of bank line or paracord that we've got here, and I'm just going to make a simple overhand knot here to tie this off. Nothing fancy. Pull it out here to this tree. Take it right there, pull it around. And tie it off with that trucker's hitch knot right there. And as you can see, there's a lot of room up under here now. Open, maybe more of a summer type set up through here, but your ridge line is keeping this up, and a lot of room in here. Then at night, if you're ready to go to bed, take your opening here, lower it down, tie it off to the tree again, stake it off there, and you've got a diamond shaped pup tent or A-frame type configuration, more like that. Be very useful. So a lot of available options you've got using a square tarp, whether it's canvas, whether it's nylon, or whether it's a vinyl. Square tarp can be very useful. I really like a square tarp better than a rectangle, but rectangle provides you other options to set up, and in another video we'll talk about using a rectangular tarp and ways to set up shelter. So let's go back to the fire and talk about this some more, but key point I want to make is a square tarp, whether it's canvas, whatever, can be very versatile in setting up shelter, and it can be set up very quickly and very simply out in the woods, just using trees or whatever you can find. You can take a tarp and get in out of the weather. One of our key survival priorities is controlling our body's core temperature. That's getting out of the weather and various things. So let's go back to the fire. We'll wrap this video up of the square tarp shelter configurations. Alright guys, thank you for joining me for this video on the square shelter using a square tarp. I think one of the big keys with that, there's so many options to setting that up, is go out into the woods, find you some trees, and just play around with configurations. Find what you like. You can set it up in so many options. It's just really amazing sometimes. So play around with it and just go have some fun in the woods setting up various shelter configurations using a square tarp. Next video, I think we're going to do a rectangular tarp, show a couple, 2 or 3 configurations with that, and that will allow you to whatever you've got. And you, like I said earlier, you can use a nylon vinyl tarp like here that you can get at any of your discount stores there. Most of those you're going to find a rectangle tarps, but you can find a tarp very inexpensive, just $10–20 or less in there, and set up tarp configuration shelter just to enjoy an afternoon in the woods and to be prepared. As we end all of our videos here at Field Skills, though, I used the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, where Emerson said that life is not a destination, life is a journey. So I ask you to come join us next time as we journey to self-reliance here in the great outdoors. My name is David Fields. You've been watching Field Skills.